couple of days later, two policemen arrived at my flat just here and delivered a summons that I should go to the drug agency of the police department to be interrogated for my role in aiding and abetting drug dealing.
Is it relatively unusual in Greece, Yanis, for politicians to talk about this kind of thing? Because in Britain, as I'm sure you know, politicians do all the time. Admittedly, none of them ever say they had a good time. It's remarkable how quite the coincidence that so many people who took drugs and didn't enjoy it ended up in politics. Nonetheless, politicians talk like this all the time. The police never really investigate any of them. Is it a very different situation in Greece, or has it just happened to you?
It's pretty different. I mean, there haven't been many occasions when there's been this kind of frank talk of honesty, with youngsters. But there was one, the former mayor of Athens, who is actually the, what is he? He's the nephew of the prime minister, a very right-wing conservative figure. He did say that he did take, he did smoke grass or hash or something, and that was fine because he was not targeted by the government of his uncle.
Now, we've often heard British politicians being asked about drug use in their youth. David Cameron confessed to smoking cannabis at Eton. Boris Johnson said he took cocaine as a teenager. And Angela Rayner has admitted taking all sorts of drugs. But it's an admission that hasn't turned out to be consequence-free for a politician in Greece. Yanis Varoufakis is a former finance minister of the country. He now leads a party called the European Realistic Disobedience Front, or MIRA25. And he recently gave an interview in which he said he'd taken ecstasy once in Australia in 1989. And this has been taken seriously enough for prosecutors in Athens to investigate on the grounds that he may have been promoting the use of illegal drugs. And Yanis Varoufakis joins me now. Yanis, good morning.
Good morning, Hugo. I was hoping we would talk about AI, but if you want to talk about my engagement with the Greek authorities on this silly matter, I'm quite happy to do that too.
Do you know what? We're absolutely going to talk about AI, but I desperately want to talk to you about this first. What happened with the story, and what are you being accused of?
Look, it's really very simple. We have a government. Imagine if in Britain you had a government where Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage were in the same party, in the same government. That would create certain difficulties in maintaining both audiences simultaneously. So this is the kind of government we have here. The ultra-right is within the center-right government. And there is an attempt to pacify the ultra-right by persecuting leftists like me.
Wow.
So what happened really was that I was talking to young people, a theater full of youngsters, people between 18 and 22, ravers, people who are in this kind of lifestyle. And it was a very nice conversation, which was being taped. It was on YouTube, on all sorts of matters, from music to life prospects, to the labor market, universities, and so on. And at some point, a 19, 20-year-old girl asked me, Mr. Varoufakis, have you ever taken drugs? And I wasn't going to do a Clinton and say that, I didn't inhale. I said, yeah, of course, I was in a university. I tasted pot, and it was quite nice. And once, as you said, 1989, at a rave party, I had an ecstasy pill, which gave me enough energy to dance like an idiot for 16 hours. But then I paid for it very dearly. I had a migraine for a week, and I never touched this stuff again. And the point I was trying to make was that, look, I'm not going to pontificate. I'm not going to lecture you on these things. I mean, these kids know a lot more about drugs than I do. But beware of the Satan, and the Satan is addiction. That was my message. And the governing party's propaganda department, which is called the Truth Commission, as if they are alluding to 1984 and George Orwell, because they do exactly the opposite. They are the propaganda department that create a great deal of, dishonesty in public life. They took a tiny clip of my talk and they portrayed me as somebody who's aiding and abetting the spread of drugs. And the Minister of Health, who is responsible, by the way, for the destruction of all support mechanisms for people, for addicts, through, social security cuts and health budget cuts. On a television panel, he demanded that the prosecution service, the Greek prosecution service, take me up on this and scrutinize me. So, a couple of days later, two policemen arrived at my flat just here and delivered a summons that I should go to the drug agency of the police department to be interrogated for my role in aiding and abetting drug dealing.
Is it relatively unusual in Greece, Yanis, for politicians to talk about this kind of thing? Because in Britain, as I'm sure you know, politicians do all the time. Admittedly, none of them ever say they had a good time. It's remarkable how quite the coincidence that so many people who took drugs and didn't enjoy it ended up in politics. Nonetheless, politicians talk like this all the time. The police never really investigate any of them. Is it a very different situation in Greece, or has it just happened to you?
It's pretty different. I mean, there haven't been many occasions when there's been this kind of frank talk of honesty, with youngsters. But there was one, the former mayor of Athens, who is actually the, what is he? He's the nephew of the prime minister, a very right-wing conservative figure. He did say that he did take, he did smoke grass or hash or something, and that was fine because he was not targeted by the government of his uncle.
Okay. Look, as I said, you've also written about recently watching AI-generated videos of yourself online, saying things that you would never say. Everyone's known this kind of horizon, the AI sort of deepfake horizon is coming. What's that experience like for you, seeing yourself portrayed in that kind of way?
Oh, it was very strange because one of those, the one that I did see initially, was such a good doppelganger of me, to the extent that it took me a couple of minutes before I realized it wasn't me. And I realized that it wasn't me because I was wearing a shirt against this background. But that shirt lives in my house on the island, and so you can imagine the confusion. And, my doppelganger was saying things I could have said until certain sentences were inserted that were totally defamatory of me. But this is what we have to live with now. It will be very soon when we will have absolutely no way of ascertaining whether the person we are seeing on our screen is actually that person or a deep fake. But Hugo, I try to see the silver lining on that. Maybe it will help us start assessing and evaluating what is being said rather than who has said it.
But you must have been tempted when the drugs thing happened to just say, no, that was a deep fake as well. This didn't happen at all. I mean, I joke, but politicians may start to do that. If everything can be denied as a deep fake, then anything can be a deep fake.
Indeed, but I wasn't tempted because I was actually very pleased that this has come out, because it was a way of shattering, to some extent, to the extent that I'm capable of doing that, this wall of hypocrisy about drugs in our societies.
Yeah, look, Yanis Varoufakis, thanks very much indeed for being with us, and great to have the real one rather than one of the deep fakes floating around on the internet. Yanis Varoufakis, thank you very much indeed.